Hello, I'm Gabriel, and welcome to Gabriel Reviews, where I talk about movies, get my thoughts about them, and rate them from a 1 to a 10. And in this movie review, I'm going to be reviewing the movie Super.
Shut up, crime. Here's the Crimson Bolt. Crime.
So Super is an American dark comedy superhero film released in 2010, written and directed by James Gunn, who is the same director of the Guardians of the Galaxy movies and the Suicide Squad movie from 2021. Now, this film first premiered at the Toronto Film Festival in Canada in 2010, and was released in April of 2011 in America. And if you thought that James Gunn would direct superhero movies from Marvel or DC, well, you might be wrong, because this movie is completely different from that. So let's talk about the storyline of the film. So this movie follows around a fraud cook named Frank Darbo, who is played by Rainn Wilson, to which you most likely know him from playing as Dwight Schrute in The Office. So Frank lives with his wife, Sarah, who's played by Liv Tyler, and he seems to be having a really good life with Sarah. But one day, his life falls apart when Sarah begins dating a drug dealer named Jacques, who is played by Kevin Bacon. In an attempt to save his wife, Frank makes himself a superhero costume, which he calls himself the Crimson Bolt, and starts to fight crime to be the superhero of the city that he wants to be. Frank also teams up with another sidekick as the two attempt to fight crime and save Sarah from the drug dealers so that they can be together again. Now onto my thoughts. So this movie I was curious about since it looked fun to me, and then I watched this movie last year, and I gotta say I had a really fun time watching this movie. And it may not be your typical kind of superhero comedy movie, since this movie is completely different to any other superhero movies. And Frank's character, the Crimson Bolt, doesn't have any powers. Instead, he equips himself with a red wrench that he makes himself to stop the bad guys from doing crimes. And he also equips himself from other weapons and firearms to stop the bad guys from kidnapping Sarah. I really like this movie a lot. I mean, I know this movie got a lot of mixed reviews, but come on, it's just, at least it's entertaining to watch, at least. Yeah. I like the way the film is shot, and there is also an animated opening credits intro, which I really think that was really well made. It's really cool if you've seen the movie. The humor is good. I really like the jokes. They're really funny, and some of the acting can be a hit or a miss, but to me, I think most of the acting is pretty well done, to say the least. One thing I will say about this movie is that this movie is surprisingly very brutal at times, and it's pretty gory as well. It's pretty violent. There's a lot of brutal scenes, and probably one of the bloodiest comedies I've ever seen, which is surprising for a comedy film. Like a character gets shot, or someone gets wounded, or what if Frank hits someone with the red wrench and then they get bloodied, which, yeah, that's pretty crazy. Good special effects in the gore, I'll say that. And and I also like Kevin Bacon's character as the villain of this movie. I think it's pretty entertaining for Kevin Bacon to be a villain for a movie. Yeah, it's kind of funny if you ask me, and the casting is pretty solid as well. There's a lot of funny and clever moments, and I think one of my favorite moments in the movie is where Frank sees someone butting in line or cutting in line, whatever you say, and he tries to stop him, but the guy talks back to him. So Frank puts on his Crimson Bolt costume.
Hey! Don't butt!
Who do you think you're fooling? I just saw you.
And then things escalate quickly from there. I know this movie may not be for everyone. You might like it, you might not like it, but I personally highly recommend this film if you haven't seen it yet. It's a super underrated comedy film that is really funny, and one film I will definitely watch in the future for sure. One of James Gunn's most entertaining movies, and one of the bloodiest comedies I've seen in my life. If you like Guardians of the Galaxy and the 2001 Suicide Squad movie, you'll probably love this movie. And to end off this review, I'm going to give Super an 8 out of 10.
Nice.
Alright, the review is over. Thank you guys for watching this video. Like, comment down below, subscribe, ring the bell for notifications, and I'll see you guys in the next one coming soon. See you later.